That was interesting footage that we just saw there, Michael. We're now going to see a second piece of footage where Billy's zooming in on the actual UFO by the tree.
Yes.
So let's take a look at that.
Here is a video segment from 1981 of one of the most unusual UFOs ever seen, photographed, or filmed. If there's any doubt that the object is indeed a large unknown craft of some sort, watch as Mr. Meier zooms in on it from across the meadow, perhaps some 300 feet or so.
Was Billy alone when he took that?
No.
Who was there?
The man who was the base commander for the extraterrestrials, named Quetzal, was standing to his left off camera.
Okay.
That segment, there's more to it, and he speaks to him. He asked him to move the ship around the tree, and Quetzal just shook his head. No, he doesn't speak out loud. They also can communicate telepathically. But Meier wanted a little more proof for people, but they always, hold something back a little bit here and there so that they don't force people to have to believe it. This still leaves room for people to be skeptical, even though I haven't seen anybody duplicate that either.
But wouldn't it have been so great if the extraterrestrial would have stepped in front of the camera and just said, "Here I am"?
Sure, but it probably would have thrown the focus of the case off. It's not to be about them. And they said to Billy, there are, for instance, in the book, there's a couple of photographs of one of the extraterrestrial women, just excluding the face. You can see the hair, the arm, the gold suit, holding the weapon, what have you, but they don't want their faces photographed. They said Earth people have a tendency to shift their focus to personalities, to deify people, to make cults and religions. That happened in the past when their own forefathers were here, setting themselves up as the gods of our religious history. And part of the reason they're here now is to try to assist us to extricate ourselves from that kind of thinking and all the negative consequences that the past several thousand years have been.
So they're here for different purposes.
Yeah, it's certainly not to become celebrities for us.
Of course, the media is making it that way, though.
Well,
especially with grey beings, you go into a supermarket now and you see little snacks, UFO snacks, and grey alien lollipops and pens and you name it, and we've got it.
Well, part of that is deliberate in the sense of a long-term gradual indoctrination of humanity to the possibility of the existence of other life forms. So the Plejaren themselves had been instrumental in helping to seed ideas that would be picked up by people who wrote movies or science fiction or anything else, so that we could, from the late 40s, early 50s on, start to let this thought come in to our consciousness, for better, for worse. We would view extraterrestrials as evil villains and strange aliens, cute little guys, and all the rest of it in between. But over and over and over again, the message is you're not alone in the universe.
Right. Now, Billy had some other proof. He had some metal that was given to him by one of the Plejarens. Let's take a look at that footage that a scientist is talking about.
Sure.
And here's a brief segment of a video in which Marcel Vogel, a high-level patent-holding IBM scientist, comments on the remarkable metal alloy samples given to him by Meier, which he has just analyzed.
Marcel Vogel, a senior scientist and chemist with IBM, had been carefully analyzing the tiny metal fragments Semyasha had given Billy. Metallurgical analysis had revealed the presence of the rare earth element thulium, but it was through the lens of a scanning electron microscope that Vogel made his most amazing discoveries.
I could not explain the type of material that I have and its discreteness by any known combination of materials. I could not put it together myself as a scientist. If I were to take these combinations and put it into a furnace, melt it, then pour it out and pull a little ingot, I would see all of these elements present there in any one area. But I don't. I see this discrete bits of material. Now, it can only happen by some form of a cold fusion process where you have the elements present and you fuse them together so they still maintain their identity, but they interpenetrate into one another. It's also a challenge because I showed it to one of my friends who was a metallurgist, and he shook his head. He said, I don't see how it can be put together. And that's where we are right now. And I think it's important that those of us who are in the scientific world sit down and do some serious study on these things instead of putting it